else who wants to do it, I would say go for it. If like Ronny said earlier, if you have that burning passion and desire to do something like this, it's not going to go away, and do something about it. Even if it's on the side, dip those toes in the water, see what you think. There's so many opportunities out there now, courses, whatever. Go and try it, because this could be the day where you start your whole new life.
Hello and welcome to the Ronny Leber Show, where every week we bring you fascinating guests with inspiring stories of success and overcoming obstacles from the worlds of sports, business and entertainment. To support this channel, please subscribe, turn on the notification bell and hit the like button so that we can deliver you the best content possible. She is a presenting pro with more than 10 years of experience in front of the camera, and after finishing her drama degree, she moved to London to pursue her presenting dream. She's emceeing at international sports events, hosting glitzy galas, live streaming corporate events, and much more. She's down to earth and has been working all over the world with a passion for quick laughs and comedy. Joining us live from London, England, I'm very happy to have her on the show. Please welcome, here's Hannah Jackson.
What an intro, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Today we'll learn about building a career while loving what you do, the joy of acting and the fear of public speaking. We'll also dive into what makes a good laugh, as well as the mindset that you need to bring with you to make it anywhere, and so much more. But first of all, when you look at your life today, Hannah, and also at your career, was that what you always dreamed of? And when you were looking at your work, or were there a few different hats that you actually put on? How do you respond when somebody asks you, what do you actually do?
Okay, so 2 questions. What do I actually do? And did I always know I wanted to do it?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And what you're doing.
And what I'm doing, right. Okay, so I have always known this is what I wanted to do. There was never another time when... I can't even think there was anything. Maybe once, I think we all go through that, I want to be a vet. I think, when I was like 8 or something. But I grew up in a time when kids' TV was just the absolute best. I don't know if anyone is watching from the UK, but things like SMTV Live, we had Ant and Dec and Cat, and it was just, you'd look forward to watching that on a Saturday morning. What kid wouldn't watch that and go, I'd love to do that? That looks fun. And so... And I did always like entertaining people, making people laugh. I wouldn't say I was like the class clown, but definitely enjoyed, sort of like entertaining people. And from about the age of 10, I've always wanted to be a TV presenter, kids TV presenter, any sort of, host. Everything I've done up until this point has very much been focused on that. When people do ask me what I do, I don't know if you had this, but it does take a certain amount of years before you start having the confidence to go, yeah, I'm a TV presenter. Because you're always sort of like, oh, well, I'm doing this, I do some acting and I'm trying to do, and it gets to a point where you think, no, that's what I do. I'm an actress, I'm a presenter. And I've been doing it for about 15 years, actually.
15, incredible.
Yeah.
You need to update your website.
What is this? Oh, no. Okay, there we go. I do need to update. I'm too busy.
Exactly. I just was going to say, but you're so busy. But we're going to get into all of that. So fantastic. For me, it's also 15 years. So we basically pretty much started out at the same time. Mm-hmm. So TV presenter is basically the thing that you go by, more or less, and also acting. But you got... When going through your website, you get all kinds of different show reels as a corporate event presenter, for a general show reel for comedy and all those kind of things. Which one do you enjoy the most?
So that is one piece of advice I would give just on that is, I don't know about you, but I was always told you've got to specify, you've got to choose one avenue and you've got to specify. Niche down. And look, I get it. There is room for that. I understand that some people that works for them, but I was always like, but I don't want to choose. I enjoy doing it all. And hopefully I'm okay at doing all of it. So that's why I do, the voiceover, the acting, the comedy, the presenting, because, I enjoy doing all of it. And I must admit, favorite, I think whenever I'm doing the thing that I'm doing, that's what I go, oh no, this is my favorite. Oh no, this is my favorite. But I think just standing in front of a big crowd and making people smile and, hopefully elevating an event so that it's, as good as it can be and it's fun and it's vibrant and you're getting the message across. I love that. But then I must admit, when I'm doing comedy, it's so fun. I mean, getting to make people laugh is just like brilliant.
Okay,
So,
I cannot wait to actually dive more into that. But it feels almost like when asking you which do you enjoy most, it's like asking a mom, which of your kids do you like the most?
I like that analogy. That is nice. Yeah. I think when you're incredibly passionate about something you do, and I appreciate that not everyone feels like this. So I do speak to, some of my friends and family, and they either don't get it, they're just like, how do you, but some people don't have a passion inside of them, or they haven't realized it yet. So I understand that is a bit tricky to sort of like think in those realms. But with me and you, when it's our passion, everything we do is about this, isn't it? Like, it's a lifestyle choice. You do have to make sacrifices. You have to sort of like live in this bubble of this job. I'm not explaining myself very well, but you can't. You have to be incredibly passionate about it, and you have to love it, because it is hard. So yeah, I think that's answers your question a bit.
It's really beautiful, and also when you're saying like that other people sometimes don't get it. I remember my grandma, after years of having done what I'm doing, she called me like at around midday, and the first thing was that she asked, "I hope I didn't wake you up," and I was like, "Grandma, look at the time," like like and then the next thing was like, "Do you already have a job?" And, and like she didn't really get the concept.
Yeah, it is a concept actually with what we do. It's I'm sure maybe you could compare it to being the life of a doctor. It's a lifestyle, being on call, the crazy hours, the emotional stress you can go under. I'm not comparing that to what we do necessarily, but it's that kind of, you have to be passionate about things that require a lot of hard work.
What kind of hard work does it require?
Anything and everything, I think. Some, like the discipline of creating your own schedule, because you are freelance, presumably, like a lot of people, what we do, they do have full-time jobs, but I'm self-employed freelance, so you have to sort of construct your own schedule in your own days when you're not necessarily shooting. You have to be good at admin, because you're taking care of all of your invoicing and everything like that. But the hours can be long. You have to put in a lot of work to find your own work. And like I said, things like sacrifices. I'm sure you work a lot of weekends, a lot of holidays, booking things in. My friends will definitely advocate that pinning me down for anything is hard work. If we're organising a holiday next year, I'm like, I'll let you know a week before if I can go. So they're very understanding, but it's hard work for a lot of and emotionally as well. If you're invested in something, or you're casting and you don't get it, and it's part of the job. But I think you probably, anything else you'd like to add that's hard work about what we do?
No, I get it. I understand it. I was just curious to hear your point of view, because you're basically, on the one hand, you're working in your business, which is acting, which is hosting events, which is all kinds of things that are that are the normal job that other people see. But at the same time, you need to work on your business, which means you actually need to work on your career, work on building something, work on creating something. And those are two jobs actually that you're doing at the same time. And you need to support yourself.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's interesting. I mean, I think maybe we're the generation where, if you study drama or if you did it, it's like, oh, it's not really a solid subject. But now, people realize that it's the transferable skills from doing what we do are huge. But not only that, we have to be incredibly good organizers. I mean, I could be a PA. I could be a PA for someone. The amount of just doing things like, right, well, I've got to get a flight there. And then when I land, I've got to do this. And I've got to learn my lines for that job because then I'll have to apply for that job that's coming then. But then I'll have to do this job, but still be on call. There's a lot of things that we're having to juggle. And like I said, the admin side and having to sort of test the waters with social media and I don't do coding or anything, but I do have a website that I work on myself, so which I need to.
Nowadays, ChatGPT does all the coding for you. But
Yeah,
anyway,
anyone watching that wants to help me.
yeah. So we already talked about your different hats that you're wearing in a job, like your different things that you're doing in terms of acting, hosting, comedy, all those kind of things, or TV as well. Which was like, how were the first steps? Because I guess you didn't start out with everything. You probably just started out with one of those things. And how was it in the beginning?
Oh, okay. So, I mean,
you studied before that. You came from university, right? Like studying drama.
yeah. I mean, like I said, I knew from a very young age that's what I wanted to do. So I was always part of the drama society, and I always sort of, and something that one person said to me that really stood out, and I've held it ever since, was whatever you want to be at around the age of 10, 11, 12, try and keep hold of that, because that's what your inner child really wants to do before you have to start being sensible and you start growing up. And it really stuck with me. And I was just like, right, well, I've always got to be trying to be a presenter. So every step then, whether it was subconsciously or consciously, was on the road to that. So I wasn't initially going to study drama at university. And after a very stressful year of deciding what I did want to do, I decided, no, I do. I'll study drama at uni. And that was a big decision because, choosing university, especially back when I did it, it was very much a big decision. This is the whole rest of your life. And you're like, you really are got to make the right decision. But while I was there, for anyone who's going to university, I would say, and if you're not going to university, but it's slightly trickier to find those avenues, but they're still there for you. But join societies. So I joined the TV Society, the Drama Society, the Radio Society, seeing what I enjoyed, picking up transferable skills, because as you all know, it's a very competitive industry. So the more that you can do and go in prepared to the real world with, the better. And then I graduated, and it was a case of, I mean, you just kind of go, I just felt like, the stick on the back, and I'm like, I'm moving to London, mum, bye.
Yeah.
So I moved to London. And I'd worked a bit in my hometown, saved some money up, and moved to London, because I knew that the first couple of years were going to be hard because it's London, it's not cheap. And you're taking jobs here and there sort of thing. But it was about building up that experience, and just working for free, working for not a lot, getting the show reel, contacting agents, showing you what you could do. And hey, it is a lot harder with what we do than not harder in terms of it's more in terms of if you do drama, there are a lot of courses that you can do, and you get
drama is like acting, you mean? Like
acting, yeah. So I never went down the acting route. I always enjoyed the more light-hearted stuff and the comedy. But a lot of my friends would go to drama school, and they got a showcase at the end, which is where agents would come and watch you. Whereas what I was doing, and how do you get anyone to come and see you? So yes, looking back, it was hard. You just have to put yourself out there and do a lot of reaching out.
Okay, so how were your first steps then? Like you came to London, and then did you just apply TV stations, or was the first thing, was it TV? Was it events? Was it comedy? What were the first gigs? Or do you remember your first gig that you ever had?
I think I must have reached out to agents, reached out to probably TV companies. I did work experience. So I did work experience for a while actually with
Like
the
internships?
internship with the BBC. That was a big one.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
yeah, that was fantastic. Actually, it was amazing. So I sort of moved to London for a month and did that, and you build up contacts and. Like I said, you sort of, you can apply to a lot of jobs online. There are a lot of acting agencies online. And inevitably, you will probably have to work for free, unfortunately, but that is the way of the world. But I was going in, remember, with a drama degree. So I already had a fair bit of footage that I could use. I had video work. So I wasn't going in completely cold.
From
Um,
drama school.
from no, yeah, from university
Oh, yeah.
because I'd done the drama, the societies. I joined all these things. I'd done, a couple of sitcoms, so I had some stuff to go on, which makes it easier. But you can record yourself. I mean, wow, it's so much easier now with phones. I sound so old now. It's like, oh yeah, back in the day when you actually have to get a recorder out. But now just film yourself on your phone and you can send things off because look, an agent or anyone is not really going to watch past being really brutal 20 seconds, 30 seconds if you're lucky. Your show reels can be 3 minutes. No one's watching 3 minutes. Because
Yeah.
you can tell immediately if someone is right for a part or if they're good or not, or whatever someone is looking for.
That reminds me, I just recently had a three-time Latin dance world champion on the show. And he said when he was actually trying out with the woman, with the partner that afterwards became his partner in the three-time being world champion, he said after 5 seconds, he knew that this was going to be the right woman. So after 5 seconds, he could feel that this is it. And also he had other tryouts where after 5 seconds, he knew that this is not the right fit. But then he would still practice for 3 hours with that person.
Yeah, but it's crazy, isn't it? I mean, like first impressions, they go a long way with anything, isn't it? Whether relationship, jobs, just if you know you're going to get on with someone, isn't it something like you can make you can judge someone, not judge someone, but you can tell within the first 3 seconds or something. So true.
Absolutely. And also what you were saying about the video thing. I think this is something, especially for somebody who's starting out and who
Mm,
does not yet have a show reel, who does not yet have a video or any video content. What people want to see that hire you is,
mm.
does this person fit? Can this person do the job? And if you do not have a video, then it's going to be really hard because how are they going to know?
Well, especially now, maybe in the past, but especially now. And I would say as well, like I'm social media is an interesting one because half of me is like, you absolutely need it. Brilliant. What a fantastic way to showcase yourself. You need social media. And the other half of me is, but you're not, that's not what you're known for. If you're an actor or a presenter, you're not known for your social media. That's your job, is you're acting and you're presenting. So it's a bit of a tricky one, but I think if you do have a social media presence, you do need to think about the kind of jobs and people you want to attract. So, for instance, like I do kids presenting. I'm very mindful of jobs that I take, or not that I would anyway, but pictures that you put up. You have to sort of think about what you want to encourage on your platform. So my platform is very work based. It's very professional, and quite like kiddie, because I suppose, if I want to do kids presenting, and it's the same that if you want to put yourself out there and whatever the job is, you do have to be mindful that unfortunately nowadays, anything that you put out, it's there forever.
And it's actually everything you put out is contributing to your brand.
It's a brand.
Do you
It
consciously work on your brand? Do you consciously create your brand? Do you have anybody helping you with that, or how do you tackle that brand topic?
I think in terms of a brand, it's a bit of a tricky one because as a presenter, you are yourself. As an actor, you're performing as different characters. As a presenter, you are yourself. And in terms of my brand, it is just me. Honestly, what I put out there is just me. There's no kind of filter or anything. It's just, the things that I put out there, they're fun, they're me, they're hopefully, warm and friendly. And I don't have to think too much about what I put out there because it's just sort of me. If I'm like, if I'm on job, I'm like, hey, it's Hannah, I'm here doing this. And so yeah, but I suppose your brand is you. So it has to be genuine, it has to be authentic, because I think people can see through being fake. So yeah.
I like that. I really like that about being authentic and really and there's nothing wrong with experimenting a bit, with
Mm,
experimenting about who you are and who you want to be, and especially when you're starting out, it's about discovering yourself as well. How do I want to be perceived? How do I want to develop myself? And I guess also for you, like when you were at the university or when you were then getting into that field and the more, did you have role models that you were modeling, or that it was like, I want to be, or not that I want to be like this person, but I want to model something that they have, and I want to model something different from that person? Did you pick
yeah.
and choose at sometimes, or did you just create completely? How did you create yourself?
I mean, you can have role models. I had like TV presenters that I looked up to and enjoyed watching, but think I don't think, I don't know. I mean, that's great to sort of be able to model yourself on someone if you really look up to them. But on the other hand, you've got to be yourself. You've got to be able to, in the presenting world, you've got to be yourself. So in terms of creating anything, again, I was just myself because that is the way you have to be. Obviously, you can be a professional version of yourself, and have many different hats on. Like, I'll be stood in front of 1,000 people presenting an incredibly corporate event. So, still being warm and engaging, but it is very professional. But on the other hand, I can do things where I'm on stage in front of 10,000 people and it's a festival. I'm like, hey, everyone, welcome. It's just yourself, but you have to sort of read the room.
I love that, to read the room. What does it
That was
mean?
good. I must admit, I was like, well done, Hannah. That was good.
Cheers. What does it
Cheers.
mean to read the room for you?
Um, Well, I mean, I think it's another part of just being yourself, but obviously a good presenter as well is understanding who you're dealing with, like reading body language and tones. So, that's to do with public speaking and hopefully being good at your job, that you read a room fairly quickly, that if the tone is there's more gravitas there, it's a little bit quieter, you just sort of echo that. But on the other hand, a lot of the time with my jobs, I am there to inject some enthusiasm and energy into things and to bring that vibrancy, which luckily is me anyway. I think a lot of people think that I'm not like this all the time. I am. I mean, hey, I like to settle down on a sofa and relax, but my natural way of being is quite energetic. So that helps a lot with doing what we do because, you know, if you're there to lead a room and to showcase an event, you've got to be, if you're not excited, no one else is going to be. And so I always think if there's one person out there who is excited about something, then I will be as well. And you've got to bring that because you might be fronting something that some people think, oh, that's not as interesting, and I'm always like, but why? Of course it's interesting. You've got to make it interesting for someone.
Exactly. What I loved about what you actually said right now was really to eject some enthusiasm, to really to be excited, to carry the room also with your energy. Because I believe that this is one of the biggest parts for us as a host, is to really move people from point A to point B
Mm,
emotionally. And you
yeah.
can only do that when you are already there, when you're already there where you want them to go.
Come join me.
Yeah, if you're not excited about something, how are you
Yeah.
going to get other people excited about something?
Well, exactly. Yes, I love that about it being because a lot of what we're doing, it's a story, it's a journey, isn't it? You're sort of like, welcome. I mean, look, I get so excited about things like, going out to the theatre, for instance, and it's the journey. It's sort of like, should we have a drink first? Then we go for dinner. Then we go to the theatre. It's so exciting, and it's the same with an event where it's like, "Good evening, everyone," and you lead them through, and then to the main event, and then afterwards, and what? That's great. That's why I love my job. What better way than to hopefully make people, people's lives an enjoyable experience if you're part of that.
I love that. Listening to you, what does presenting mean to you?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's sort of like my life. That's what I do. Presenting, hosting. I guess it's just like we've said. It's about creating stories and um, showing subject matters in their best light.
I love that. And I'm gonna add, I think also it's a conversation that you're having.
Mm,
It's a conversation. It's not presenting from one to many, like blasting it out in a way. It's about having a conversation one by one, like or one to one, and that just multiplied.
yeah.
Because that's the only way, in my experience, to have an authentic conversation.
And that is a skill that, if you are thinking about doing this, you will have to learn. I mean, it comes more naturally to some people than others, but I think in this day and age when technology is moving the way it is, especially after COVID, a lot of the time when I'm doing presenting, you will have to talk down the barrel of the camera, and whether it's like on something like this or whether I'm doing a training video, you have to remember that you're talking to one other person, like it's a conversation, but also it's going out to hundreds or thousands of people, so you need to create that warmth. And that is a skill, just like autocue is a skill, just like it is, you have to sort of, I feel like you kind of, you learn certain skills as a presenter or a host, and then in other hosting roles you have to slightly undo it. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes when you're doing something that's very corporate, down the barrel, autocue, you have to remember that doesn't suit necessarily a different video where you need to be a bit more relaxed, and it needs to be, it's hard, you need to sort of like, you know I don't know if you do this, but I've gotten to a place now where I'm okay watching myself back. I know not everyone likes to do that, and I don't love it, but you have to get to a place where you are comfortable to watch yourself back so that you can learn. And if you're not comfortable watching yourself back, I mean, no one else is going to be. But it's a great way to learn, and I think that's a brilliant way of like just keep to work on yourself.
I totally agree, and I think, thank God, I am actually comfortable. I read from Kiefer Sutherland, who was, for example, Jack Bauer in 24, and like a great actor, that he said he could never watch anything that he was part of. Like he was never watching himself again. But I love that, because I believe it's really great to actually learn to build yourself up to see, okay, this is actually, I remember when like one of the first experiences, or okay, it was not one of the first experiences. Once when I was watching myself, I thought, wow, I'm actually doing that great. But at the same time, that I thought, well, that I can do better.
Mm.
This is
Mm.
something like you discover things, and in the beginning, it's going to be more things like, this is awkward. Oh my God. Well, maybe not. But then there are going to be things where you're like, wow, this is cool.
Mm.
I like it.
Yeah.
Hey, who's that guy? Show me more of that.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. So, all right, getting back on. Now I kind of lost my thread, but I actually wanted to pick up something from before as well. When we were talking about the business aspect, because obviously somebody who is employed, they go to work a certain amount of hours and they get paid at the end of the month.
Mm.
This is not the same in our field of work. And especially if somebody's out there and says, I would love to do something like this. I would love to go out there, but I don't know if I can deal with that uncertainty. I don't know how the business works. And we were talking about before that in the beginning is you do a lot of stuff for free. You mentioned, for example, the BBC internship and different other internships, which are great to actually get experience, to also build a network in a way. But it's not paying very well yet. So
Mm.
you need to build yourself up. One of the things that you need to build yourself up in your brand is, as we talked about, also social media. And actually, in terms of acting, I just related to before was, um, did you know that the actress, I forgot her name, who played Sansa Stark in Game of Thrones, that she
Oh,
actually she
Yeah.
got her role because like in the casting because she had so many followers on social media, and they were like, all right, let's put her on, because it was not that she was awful and another one was great, but it was like this head to head kind of like, well, are we going to take her or another one? And then, well, she has got a lot more followers, so let's take her.
It's that's tricky. I mean, I think you should be based on your talent and not how many followers you're bringing, but hey, that's the way things are at the moment, and I totally get it that, oh, you're going to bring 1 million followers, brilliant, but it just shows the power, doesn't it, of social media. So yeah.
Incredible. And so nowadays you're not going to internships anymore. Nowadays you're obviously because you already have established yourself. So how does it work once you're an established presenter or actor and so on? How does business come in? Is it just like ringing the phone every day, and or like you put a website out and suddenly the phone doesn't stop ringing, or how does it work?
Oh, if only it was that easy. No, I mean, look, hey, it's difficult all the time, and it's in an industry like ours where everyone else is pretty much doing that all the time. Ours is like way, and it's probably, it will eventually drop off. There are not many people in their like 60s, 70s, 80s doing this full time. It's the same kind of thing as a dancer. There is a cutoff where your body physically can't do it anymore, but that's coming. So I think it's just about diversifying and being able to do different things. But at the moment, yeah, it's always been, I'm very lucky that it's always been really busy. So that is great. But like you said, every day is different, but every day you have to kind of be disciplined with what you do. There's always work to be done. There's always, like you said, social media, your website, reaching out and following up invoices. There's always something to do. And another part of the job as well that you have to sort of give time for is learning lines. If you have a job, that it's quite likely that you'll have to learn lines before. That takes days or however long before, depending on the script. And so yeah, every day is different.
It sounds, thank God for you, it sounds like you appreciate a lot variety, doing different things. And one thing that I was thinking, there are very few people, especially in the presenting world, that are great at presenting on TV, that are great at presenting on at corporate events, that are great at presenting at sports events, because all of those things are different. Like if you're not from the industry, you might think like, well, he or she is a host, he or she is a presenter, so they're all the same, or on the radio and so on. Like they got to be able to do that, but it's very different to actually be in front of an audience, or to engage a whole stadium in a sports environment, or at the same time to be on TV, because you really need to project your voice differently. You have, on the one hand, you're just by yourself, everything is under your control, like in a studio setting, or on the other hand, everything can happen in a live event. How did
Mm.
you handle that, or how did you also develop those different skill sets?
I mean, a lot comes down to experience. You have to go out in there and try it, and it's practice. And I think it does sometimes come down to having, I suppose, a natural flair for things like that as well. Like my whole life has sort of been working towards that. I'm very used to doing that anyway in my day-to-day life. There's only so much training you can do. Of course, you can have training in terms like auto cue and where to look, and oh, the lights are really bright there, and I didn't know that was going to happen, and oh my God, there's 40 people on set, but it comes down to just like acting and singing and anything that requires sort of a vocation like that you have to have, I suppose, an innate talent to be able to do it.
When you think back of your career, when you think back on the jobs that you've done, and you've done very, very different jobs, and also you've been very lucky and privileged to also travel the world actually alongside your job. Can you think of a job or two that you had where you were standing there and you thought, wow, I'm really lucky to be here. Like incredible. I'm incredibly lucky to be here, to be doing this and actually getting paid for that.
I know. But I think it's one of those things that I need to get better at appreciating it in the moment, because you are always thinking of like the next one, or hope this continues. And but yeah, I mean, most jobs I feel like that, but there are some that stick out. Like, I did a travel show out in Indonesia. I was out there for like nearly 2 weeks. That was amazing. I did a wee TV commercial out in Romania. That was one of those moments where I was like, what? Being, hosting on a huge stage in front of 1,000 people for these like major events that are streamed globally. Getting to travel is just, I mean, wow, that is absolutely amazing. Being on the red carpet, interviewing the stars and stuff. It's there. Yeah, there are pinch me moments, but you just have to just enjoy it as it happens, and then because you do look back and go, that was pretty cool. Especially when you like people, your friends and stuff, and they'll ask what you've been up to, and you say it, and you're like, oh
I met Tom Cruise, or
yeah, we're like that.
yeah.
So yeah. What
Because
about
he
you?
also
That sticks
what
out for you? Anything that sticks out for you that you're just like, I cannot believe I did that?
you know first of all, I'm very passionate about sports, so I love to do I always love to do events where it's where people are where it's about something, like
Mm,
not where it's that matters for people. For example, a national team football match or soccer match. Yeah,
yeah.
when Austria, for example, is playing against Germany, and that for us is always like a World Cup final coming from Austria, because it's Germany is always the big rival, and usually we get we get our behinds handed to us afterwards. But when sometimes it actually happens, this miracle that we are the winners at the end, then it's a very very special atmosphere. Or just recently, I hosted my first boxing world championship as a ring announcer, and that's something really cool. But also in the corporate world, when there are sometimes events when you're standing there and you're like, this is so cool, this is so
Mm.
awesome that I really get to that I'm getting paid to do that, or also to travel the world and to see places. It's really really nice.
And to do the variety of jobs, because like inevitably with what we do, you have to do a lot of research into every job. I just like to be really prepared, and so you do get to dip your toes into some very interesting industries that you never would have normally. And I agree with having the sporting things are sometimes they can be really emotional. When people, I'm like hosting a race and people are crossing that finish line, you're like, so yeah, no, it is amazing.
I've seen you do things also with the British Olympic team, or also at the handball Final Four,
Yeah.
and that's really really beautiful.
Mm, it is amazing. Yeah, I mean, those moments are just unbelievable. The final four, getting to be part of that is just, it's one of the best weekends. I absolutely love it. Yeah.
The
I
Lanxess Arena in Cologne, 20,000 people.
Yeah. And another thing with what we do is because we bop about so much with different jobs, it is wonderful when you get to work with the same people more than once, because you build up that relationship and you get to be like, I'll see you again soon.
When you're there, and of course it's something that totally emotionally fulfills you, or at least I can talk from my own experience, that when you're getting this emotional rush, you're part of that atmosphere. You can also experience what everybody else is experiencing in the audience, and maybe even in another level, because you're part of the creation of that. How do you ground yourself afterwards?
I must admit, afterwards, it is a bit of a like yeah, it's a bit, it's not like sad when it's over, but you are always like, "Oh, I want to do that again, I want to do it again." And I suppose you just have to sort of you look to the next one, and hopefully you get to hang out with the people afterwards, and you might go out, and that's always really lovely, because you do bond with people quite a lot when you're on these shoots, because they can be quite intense. You're there for maybe like 10 hours with people doing something that is it's a lot, and that's why you sort of maybe bond with people quicker than you would if you were just doing your normal 9 to 5 job.
Because it's always about emotions. Because it's all and emotions are very connecting. On the other hand, you mentioned something that you always love to be prepared. You prepare a
Mm,
lot,
mm,
and I also know that you're very busy. oftentimes you have not just one, but maybe even more than one job in a day, or a job like every day. How do you find the time to prepare yourself for those events? And how do you actually prepare? What's your process?
I mean, it depends what your weeks or months are looking like in beforehand, but yeah, you do your preparation. It's just about time organization, which is hard when the times of things are always changing. But I had a crazy busy month earlier in the year where I had planned every single day down to nearly every hour because I had to make it work. So plane journeys, you're learning lines. You get there, but you've already pre-booked the taxi to take you there, so you get enough sleep so that you get up early. And the packing. I mean, I hate packing now, but you've got to just. I go through what my day will look like. Literally, I'll get up. What will I then do? And you go through, so you make sure you've got everything with you, and just over prepare. I mean, honestly, I've got like plasters, shoe shine, anything that I could possibly maybe need just to make the job, just that little bit easier. But I also think in preparation, we are professionals. You need to turn up prepared. It's everything from having, if you're asked to bring multiple outfits, bring 3, bring 6. Be that person so that when they're going, oh, these aren't right, have you got anything else? And it's like, yes, I do. You're the person that is come super prepared. So yeah, just going through things in your mind about what, and not what could go wrong, but trying to be a little bit prepared in terms of, yeah,
Eventualities.
exactly, because we've all been on set where things have changed, like the timings have changed, things are, always bring a snack. I always have food in my bag because I'm one of those people that when I get hungry, I get a bit not hangry, but I want the food right now, and it's always that lunch is at 1, so you're like, yeah, right, okay, well, lunch is at 1. It might be a bit late, at 1:30, 2. If you're someone that gets hungry, you got to have a snack.
Exactly, and especially in our job, you never know when is there. Like, you really need to plan your food as well, or at least that's what I've come to learn, because you don't know when there is going to be a break. Or, for example, if you're going to have a hosting thing where you need to talk for hours and hours and hours and hours, you kind of need to find a break to eat as well.
You got to be prepared. That's what. But we've done this long enough that So there's always snacks in my bag. There's always things like spare pair of tights. If you get a ladder, got to have a spare pair of tights. Always things like hair stuff, makeup. Be that person that is super prepared. You've got your lines. You've got extra cards. You've got a pen. Just goes a long way.
What I love about that is that you have a very holistic view on that. It's not just about your lines, and not just about the text that you need to prepare, or about like whatever it is in terms of presenting, but it's really about everything around it. Because at the end of the day, one of the key factors I believe in our job is to be flexible.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say? How important is flexibility?
I mean, massively flexible. I'm always having to be sort of like, can you turn up at this time? Yeah, I can do this. Or like the day might change, and like the role might change. But hey, that's kind of one of the reasons we love it, right? It's never the same. It's exciting. It's different. And you're working with people that are sort of similar minded, people who are production managers and directors, and they're creatives, and you're all working towards the ultimate goal of the event, the video. You all want it to be a success and want it to be good, and the finished product. So yeah, of course you've got to be flexible, and that's why you need to be prepared, though, because things do change.
Going back to the business aspect a little bit, when we were talking about really like making a way and progressing and getting jobs and so on, one important part I believe is networking. To build a network, of people that know you, and also that and that might actually, hey, we need somebody for that. Let's call Hannah, because we've seen her, or I've met her. She's fantastic. And so, how do you have a special strategy about networking, or what's your view on that?
I mean, I really should be a lot better. I'm usually, and I know I'm really privileged to say that a lot of the time I don't usually need to. Like, I do get a lot of people coming to me, and but yeah, no, I mean, obviously networking is great, and I think that's where social media can feed into. And I think making it genuine. I sort of don't like networking unless it just feels natural and organic and it feels real. I want to work with nice people, and I want it to be natural and a collaborative process. So, but yeah, no, reaching out to people is always great.
Beautiful. I love that. Another thing that you do is comedy. And something, if there's somebody in the audience who is like, I'm a really bad joke teller. I cannot tell jokes, or I laugh always before the joke, and I'm not really like when, and so on. Like, there are all kinds of things. What is something that you learned at comedy that might help somebody to tell
Oh my
better jokes or to be more funny? I'm just not funny.
Oh, that's a really hard question, and I should caveat this by saying I'm not a comedian. I don't do comedy, but I do comedy presenting and comedy acting, so it's a little bit different. But that's hard to be more funny. I mean, I would always just say like confidence goes a long way. So you can tell the worst joke, but if you go in with it confidently, like the worst joke is, sort of like, why are pirates like they are?
I don't know.
Because they are.
Yeah.
Awkward. But, you say it with some confidence and maybe it gets a little bit funnier. But I think it's one of those things that you sort of, if you're kind of funny, half of it is probably natural ability as well. And again, I grew up watching so much British comedy, and it's that kind of awkward, dry stuff that I really like. And
Like Monty Python stuff.
I never watched Monty Python, but things like The Office, love
Oh,
that. Or, I mean, a slapstick as well. We have Mr. Bean. I
oh, of
mean,
course. I love Mr. Bean.
who doesn't? I mean, it's an icon in the world, isn't he? But yeah, no, it's a tricky one. But I like injecting a little bit of comedy into what I do, and I think a lot of companies appreciate that now. That having just a little bit of, being relatable, being, you're not. I think another thing with like hosting or presenting is that just making people feel comfortable. It's just about being on their level, and yeah.
Just being light, easy, entertaining, and just to take somebody by the hand and take them from A to B.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be this sort of like big performance. You're just saying like, "Hey guys, this is going to be great." So, like, where should we start? Let's start at the top. But yeah,
Actually, that reminds me. I was several years ago was the best man at a wedding, and as it is oftentimes like at a wedding, it takes a long time, and then we're there, then we're there, then we're there, and then this is happening, and so on, and basically, usually nobody has a clue what's happening next, and so it was my job kind of to, all right, now everybody, let's group over there, let's go over there, let's do this now, and now everybody, let's go over there, now this is happening, and so on. So basically, I was the host, but I was just the best man, and so on. And I remember the parents of the bride that did not know me before, they were like, "Oh, we really like the manager. We really like the manager. He was really doing a great job." Like, I wasn't the manager; I was just the the best man. But anyway, it was really cool. So it's just about telling, like, taking people, like you're inviting people in your home. That's why it's
yeah,
called a host, isn't it?
yeah. Well, no, exactly. I think that's the point, isn't it? As long as you're prepared and as long as you're having fun, that'll come across. Yeah, clearly you were. Clearly you're having a great time.
I love that. What would you say is the Hannah Jackson success formula?
God, you're asking some tricky questions here, Ronny. Success formula? I don't know. I don't know. I guess just carry on doing what I'm doing. It seems to be working.
What makes, or in other ways, what do you attribute the most your success to?
A good combination of hard work, experience, and my enthusiasm and passion for my work coming through.
I love that. That sounds like a beautiful Hannah Jackson success formula.
Okay, we'll just wrap that up but yeah,
Let's put it in a glass and in a fragrance.
bottle that. Woo-hoo.
Yeah. For somebody who is just starting out and who would like to pursue their dreams, what can you give somebody like that on the way?
What advice?
Yes.
So starting out or mid-career possibly as well, wanting a different direction. Oh, okay. I think if it's something that you've been seriously thinking for a long time and it hasn't gone away, and you've really thought about the practicalities of it, because there's no point in sugarcoating it, as I think you would agree, Ronnie. Like what we do, it's not easy. There's no point in saying, yeah, we do, go for it. Absolutely go for it. But go in prepared. Everything from monetary, so saving money, because when you start out, you're going to need a bit of a buffer. I would say to do as much preparation, get experience on the side if you can. I've known people who have sort of like, you get to the point where you're essentially doing two full-time jobs. I had a friend who was a photographer, but he also had a full-time job. He wanted to be a photographer, and it was about working all the weekends, not for free, actually doing it as a job, but the weekends, they're gone. Back to your 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, doing evening work, doing things that are, a little bit not underpaid, but, starting off lower so that you can build up, obviously. And then you get to the point where you're like, wow, it's crunch time. I'm going to have to quit my main job because I'm busy enough now to carry on doing that. So I think if you've got a passion, you've been thinking about it, definitely go for it. But get sort of like a timeline. If you sort of said, right, well, I'm gonna quit my main job there, or I'm gonna really start thinking about it doing, then what do I need to do to make this work for me? I need to save up this amount of money. Okay, well, I need to enroll in some classes. I need to reach out to these certain people. And if you put those in place, then I think you're kind of good to go. But I would say if you've got a burning passion and you think, I really, really want to do this, stop talking about it. Go and do it. If you're not happy in what you're doing, it's not going to get any better.
Beautiful. I love that.
What about
Let's
you?
start.
What do you think? That's a hard question.
What do I think? Like for somebody who's just starting out?
Yeah, what advice would you give?
First of all, I really love what you said about if you already are doing something and you already have a safe haven, so to say, but you
Yeah,
have a desire to do something, build it on the side as a
yeah.
side hustle. Like see if this is really something that you want to do.
Yes, because just to add to that, there's a difference between having a passion about something and making your business. I think I've always been very good at treating what I do as a business. It's a bit tricky for some people because maybe it's a passion that they do Amdram or comedy on the side and they love it. It's really fun. That is a lot different to doing that as your full-time job. Those like, wonderful moments of escapism, it might not continue being that as your job. You might love it, but you might also lose some of it. So I totally agree. Doing on the side to even see if, oh no, this is not what I want it to be as my job. I'll keep to doing it as just as my passion.
Yeah, just because you love to laugh doesn't mean that you're a great comedian.
Right.
So, so basically, but yeah, I totally agree. So really, figure out if this is really something that you want to do. If this is because there's a difference between being interested in something, being passionate about something. Like if that there's really a fire burning inside of you that you would do something even for free.
Right.
And even if, that doesn't mean that you need to do this for free forever. But if it's just something where you're like, I love that because when you're passionate about something, you're willing to put in the work. You're willing
Yeah.
to learn. You're willing to grow. You're going to do this naturally because it's something that you're passionate about, that you love to do. And when you love doing something, that's a great recipe for getting better at something. When you're the best at something at some point, and maybe even the best in the world, you're going to find a way to monetize it.
Yeah. Well, if you want it to be at your job, yeah, it has to be. And I think that's another really important thing to think about is that you do have to love it, because if it doesn't pay you a lot, and a lot of the time in the entertainment business it doesn't, you need to be okay with that. It needs to be enough that you love it, that money isn't the be all and end all for you.
Yeah, man, I just get to travel the world. Like this year, I was for a job in Fiji. Man, it doesn't pay so well. Well, whatever. You're in Fiji.
Blimey, Roy, do you want to rub it in a little bit more? You went to Fiji.
I did actually, yes.
For what?
For Tony Robbins.
What's that?
Tony Robbins.
Oh, Tony Robbins. Wow, okay.
Yeah,
Fiji.
that's well. Anyway, but it's not. I got some more rapid fire questions for you, Hannah.
Okay,
Okay, so
ready.
who is somebody that you admire or look up to, and why?
I do like. I love Stephen Fry because I'm a huge Harry Potter fan and I listen to his audiobooks every night.
Beautiful.
And he's very intelligent. I love him. Who else do I love? There's not specific people that I sort of like look up to. I do enjoy the medium of TV. I enjoy watching film. I enjoy watching, shows and stuff. I am absolutely loving Alison Hammond at the moment on Great British Bake Off. Do you have Great British Bake Off?
I do not.
Missing out. It's a bakery.
It sounds
show.
like baking.
It's baking.
It sounds tasty.
It's taking over. It's brilliant. So it's a baking competition. She's brilliant. She's just having a great time. So yeah.
But isn't it great what you just said? That she's just having a great time, and when you're having a great time, other people are going to notice.
Yeah.
So I think that's also that we can put this in the Hannah Jackson success formula.
Okay. Yeah. And having the confidence to go, I'm allowed to have a fun time at work. Because sometimes you think, I can't be paid. This is my job. And it's just about going, yep, I've worked really hard to get to this point. I'm going to enjoy it. It's about having the confidence to say that to yourself.
It is. So a rapid fire question continue.
Okay.
What's the best book you ever read and why?
Ooh. Oh. I love reading. I'm a big reader. But one that has stuck with me is I Am Pilgrim. Big thriller. Have you heard of it? I Am Pilgrim. It's like a bestseller. It's really stays with you. That's amazing. One of my top ones though is anything by Bill Bryson. Mother Tongue, Short History of Everything, The Body. All of his are amazing. And I also love. What have I got on my bookcase at the moment? I do love. Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. That's brilliant. Anything social, like social history. Anything by like Philippa Gregory. She's amazing. Yeah, she wrote The Tudors.
Oh, okay, beautiful.
Okay.
Then, what do you practice on a daily basis that moves you forward?
Eating treats.
Eating treats.
I am a big chocolate and sweet fiend. I regularly will look forward to having that of an evening. But no, I do like reading a lot. And I walk. I make sure I try, particularly on a day where I'm not on a shoot, I try and do about 10,000 steps a day. And I live in a beautiful area in London. I'm very lucky. So I like to go and have a little wander.
Wow, very nice. Then what are you excited about right now? Any new project or anything that you're absolutely looking forward to? Or what are you excited about?
Oh, that would be telling, Ronny.
Yeah.
No, there's a couple of really cool things that I've got coming up that I will say, watch this space, follow me. Should put a little.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that where people can find you, but
yeah. So I've got some really exciting stuff coming up and some regular things as well, which I love. I love being able to work with the same kind of people again. So yeah.
Okay, very nice. And what's one thing that you cannot live without?
Treats.
Treats. There they are again.
I mean, I can't live without chocolate. Come on. Yeah.
So if somebody would like to find out more about you, if somebody would like to follow you or maybe even hire you, where can we find you?
Oh, that'd be great. You can follow me at, on Instagram. That's where I'm predominantly on. Hannah Rose Jackson, at Hannah Rose Jackson. You can find me on my website, hannahjackson.co.uk. Um, and all of my details, I think, are on there. I'm now on TikTok.
Ooh.
I know. I'm trying it out. I'm trying it. I'm doing it. So yeah, I think that's predominantly. I don't know about you, where you sort of like focus your attention on, but for me, it's Instagram, branching out to TikTok, and my website as well, and also on LinkedIn as well. If you want to reach out and hire me, let's work together. Let's collaborate.
Beautiful. That sounds very, very nice. And any closing thought that you would like to leave the audience with? Any like 30-second last thought that you would like to leave us with?
Lovely chat. Thank you very much. It's always lovely to talk to a fellow host, someone in the industry, and sort of, talking about why we love what we do and that we are so lucky. But with that, a lot of hard work has gone before it. And, this is where I should enjoy it and just be like, yeah, anyone else who wants to do it, I would say go for it. If like Ronny said earlier, if you have that burning passion and desire to do something like this, it's not going to go away, and do something about it. Even if it's on the side, dip those toes in the water, see what you think. There's so many opportunities out there now, courses, whatever. Go and try it, because this could be the day where you start your whole new life.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you. So happy to have you on the show. Once again, give it up, Hannah Jackson. Woo!
Thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for sticking with us until the end. To make this content even more valuable for you, please leave a comment below and share your thoughts, and also share this video with somebody you care about who absolutely needs to see this. Thank you very much. Have an outstanding day and see you next time.